What's up, everybody? Mystery Lane back with another YouTube video. We're here today to talk about variables, and we're also going to talk about arrays, more importantly, because we've already talked about variables. We should be starting to get the hang of those by now, but we should start by reviewing that idea about what a variable is. So every variable, when we want to use it in our program, if it's not already in there as a system variable, we have to declare it first. So here's how a variable declaration works. You have to specify a type, you have to give the variable a name. So a good variable declaration might be int x, and of course we would need the semicolon right here. But when I declare the variable int x, the computer literally creates like a little box, not literally but figuratively, creates a little box in the memory. It labels that box x, and because of the type, that box is going to be of a certain size and it can only fit integers inside of that box. Okay? If I wanted to use that box or put something into that box, I could use a command like x gets 5. And remember, this little symbol right here, we call this the assignment operator. Not exactly the same thing as an equal sign in this instance. And whenever we use that, that's telling the computer to store some information into a variable. Okay? So when I do that, the computer goes and gets that box, and it opens it up, and it's going to take the number 5. So we're going to take the number 5 here, and it stores it inside the box. There we go. Closes that box up. I've got that box on the shelf there, ready for use later. Later on, if I wanted to do some math with that, a typical thing that we do with variables a lot in programs is something like incrementing it by 1, meaning we're going to make the value of that variable go up by 1. We would write a statement like this. X now gets x plus 1. So the computer takes the box for x, opens it up, it sees that 5 is in there right now, and it says, okay, well, I need to do 5 plus 1, which is going to be 6. So no longer is 5 in there. Now it's storing the number 6 inside of that box. And that's, the basic idea behind how a variable works. But what if you needed a lot of variables all of the same type because you're doing something over and over again? You're doing something repetitive, like loading a bunch of image files into memory like we're doing for this clock program. Well, then you would want to use a data structure called an array, which is basically a big box with lots of little containers in it. Okay, so here is a good visual representation of what an array might look like. So let's say we wanted to create an array for the number of students that I have in each of my classes. So here's my array, and I would need to tell it how big the array is. This array has been created with 7 total compartments. Notice that it starts with the number 0. Arrays are always addressed with the first compartment being the number 0. It's the 0th element of an array. And I would address it with the name of my array. So if I had the name of my array was students, I would then say, well, okay, I'm using this array, but which part of this array am I using? So if I wanted to use this first compartment here, which is address 0, I need these square brackets for 0, and I would say, let's put the number 16 in there. So I take the number 16, it goes and gets that array of students, and then it stores the number 16 into that compartment for later use. If I wanted to use the 4th compartment, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's actually address 3. And maybe my 4th period class only has, oops, I said 4 out loud. And that's going to be the common mistake you make while working with arrays. That's the trickiest part to it. So my 4th period class, maybe it has 12 students in there. So now the computer takes the number 12, and it goes and it opens up that 4th compartment, which is actually address number 3, and it stores the number 12 inside of there. And anytime I want to use that compartment, what's stored in that compartment, I can just type students square brackets 3, and it would do something with it. I can do math the same way I did with variables. I could say students 3 gets students 3 plus 1. Right? That could be a nice little simple statement here. Don't forget your semicolons. Always got to have your semicolons there. So I go to the 3rd compartment, I take out that number, and I say, actually, this is going to be 12 plus 1. So get my new answer, which is 13, and I store that new answer in the array, close it up, and it's there for later use. So that's the basic concept behind an array. In the next video that we go through, I'm going to be working through the Clock Project program, the tutorial that I uploaded this week into Google Classroom. And that video will be about how to actually declare arrays in the program and how to work with them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button.